I had a trial that was a trial to end all trials. I mean, I won't go into a lot of detail, but it set the record for the longest divorce jury trial. Yes, we have jury trials in Georgia. Um, it set the record in the county where I live. And we went from early morning to into the evening. We went on the weekend. I'm sure by the third or fourth day, the jury hated us. You know, they would give us scowling looks, and I mean, it was really painful for everybody. And we would come back and we would work once we got out of court and get ready for the next day and go back in. And in a nutshell, I was representing the wife, and she had a daycare center that was quite successful, but she was seeking a lot of alimony because she had two children that were going into college. Her husband was a OBGYN who had become involved with another woman who was pregnant during the pendency of the case and at the trial. And she was afraid that the husband would not pay for the children to go to college. They were both extremely bright. And the son ended up getting a scholarship to Harvard. They were African American. And what he wanted was he wanted all the cash. He wanted the sales proceeds from their home. And the trial went on for over 3 weeks. And at the end, the wife didn't get any alimony. The husband didn't get any cash. The wife got the cash. And she got her business. And, you know, it was so brutal and it was so abusive to everybody, including me. I remember asking the judge, or, you know, if I could go and get a quick something to eat. And she said, there's some vending machines, you know, which I knew, but that's not what I wanted. I didn't want a Coke and crackers or something, but it just seemed so inhuman that it was a big changing point for me. And I decided that I really didn't want to do that anymore because it seemed stupid. And that's one of the things that I've learned about litigation, is that it's pretty stupid. I had a legal assistant that whatever complaint came in, she would always file an answer, and all it said was, this is stupid, stupid, stupid. We didn't file it in the court, okay, but, you know, there was some satisfaction in just saying that because it was really dumb, and I was realizing that people were not getting what they needed out of this process. And it was very difficult to deal with the attorneys in particular because they were so nasty toward one another. And my belief was that they actually instigated a lot of the animosity between the parties. There are people, including me, that believe that perhaps that was their plan, because the more animosity you can generate, the more work you generate, therefore the more fees. And there were so many things about the process that I call the mystery work, like when you're doing interrogatories or any kind of discovery where you can bill hour after hour after hour, and the client has no idea what it's for, whether it's meaningful, or if you'll ever use it. And it was about this time that my husband and I went on this Millennium trip. It was sponsored through New Age magazine. And you got to go to Hawaii, which was great. And you were there with a bunch of like-minded people who were, I believe, on a spiritual path similar to the one that my husband and I were on. And I'm going to call him JB because that's what his name is. I can't keep referring to him as my husband. At any rate, at that meeting, we met just some wonderful people. And it was at that meeting that I was introduced to this article about this fascinating person by the name of Bill Van Zyverden, and introduced to the concept of holistic law. And I mean, I just I thought, wow, this is fabulous. This is really great. So, in addition to having a great time at this Millennium Party, where we got to watch the turning of the millennium, we were at the end of the spectrum on the time change. And so we would gather around a TV at the hour and watch whichever large city was, turning to 2000. And it was just a great experience. And you felt very connected with everybody in the world because you knew they were having this common experience. And the people there were great. So as soon as I got home, though, I called up Bill Van Zyverden and I said, wow, I want to meet you. I want to do blah, 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 blah. I was just really, really excited about having found someone that had this set of beliefs that really articulated in a very clear way what I felt my belief system had evolved to. He told me they were having a conference in Chicago. I think it was over the Labor Day weekend in September. And I started emailing with him and finding out more about the organization. And it was also at this time that I became introduced to collaborative law. And I learned about Stu Webb. And that was another thing. I felt like all of these things were just God's gifts. When I was ready to let go of being a litigator and all of that, all the trappings, everything that meant, then it freed a space, an opening for me to be aware of these other things that probably had been out there for a while, but, I didn't see them. Had my blinders on, maybe I was looking myopically. And so I called up Stu Webb, and I just, really thought he was wonderful, enjoyed talking to him, and he told me a lot of things, and he also told me a lot about what was going on around the country, and actually told me that there were 2 people in Atlanta that had come to one of the IAHL meetings, the International Alliance of Holistic Lawyers, who had been interested in bringing the concept of collaborative law back to Georgia. So that was Diane Wood and Lynn Russell. And I knew both of them. I didn't know them real well. I knew Lynn a little bit better. And so I called them up and they said, oh yeah, in '98 we had Stu Webb to come down and we had this little conference, and we invited people from other disciplines, mental health, financial, mediators, because we thought those are all people that might be interested in collaborative law. Essentially what I learned about collaborative law at that point was that it was when 2 lawyers and their clients enter into an agreement that they will work out all of the issues outside the purview of the court. And they would use primarily the skills that a mediator would use in terms of negotiation. If the process broke down, then the attorneys had to withdraw. They could no longer represent the parties, and the parties would have to find litigation attorneys.